going on, YouTube world? A little faster. A lot of stuff to cover over the weekend. Steve, at some point, Vincenzo, and then I am Dave. IRP 178. If we have more than 6 people in the room tonight, I'd be shocked because it's a wrestling themed. I won't say podcast, but tonight's topics are more on the wrestling themed and polishing turds.
Which I can actually add information to.
Seen already, not even a minute in. I mean, we got a lot of viewers going on right now. I mean, it's just there bumps up a little bit. I think those are pity views.
Well, they may have refreshed, but not overly heavy on the ish. I mean, 10 minutes. That's normal, so it's not horrible.
No, not 30 minutes like we've done a few times in the last few weeks, months, as it were.
Before we jump in too much, because I didn't think about the possibility of this being this week's episode related topics. We planning on next week?
Yeah. I think it's going to be Wednesday.
Which that was kind of pre-discussed anyways. Potentially.
Because I'm fairly certain, like 100% certain, I think there's a game. I think game's Tuesday and Thursday next week. The one Thursday has already been postponed, which sucks because I think the field. We've had rain the last few days. We've had warm for this time of year. Temperatures, we have mid 40s, upper 40s, and most of the snow on the field, I think it's all gone. So it's just going to be damp, which I don't know. I don't know how the infield is. That might be something I go tomorrow after. Again, I'm off work, but I go in and order. I'll put a few things away and then go over there and check that out, see how that is. But she got bumped up. I think 5 of them got bumped up to JV, 3 8th, 2 7th graders, just because of. Again, it's not like a lot of schools. I'm sure a lot of the folks that watch us are used to the multi-hundreds per class. I think they got 39, 40 in their class. I think the class below is a little bigger, but
yeah, the joys of a small town.
Yeah, which is
smaller town,
which is good in many ways, because a lot of these people would not be playing otherwise. I mean, you'd just be shuffled out. You would be no.
Well, they could potentially make the team, but they're gonna ride fine pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, well, they'll have splinters, so in their patukas.
Really, we're going to refrain from saying ass, Dave? I mean, of all words to refrain from using.
You don't want to listen. I've told you it's a family show, and you just don't want to listen. I don't know if you got hit in the ears with a puck because you are the hockey oracle.
No.
Standing outside of like Sergei Zubov's house, trying to get autographs, and Darian Hatcher, and
no. You can keep calling it a family show, but if that's the case, then you need the delay going on your area.
We're not even 5 minutes in, but it's a great segue. We aren't Raw. We aren't SmackDown. We're not going to sit there and blurt everything out because the Rock's
which they missed quite a few times, not just last night, but
it's night 1, which that's why I put that placeholder up. It was not a good night, and I know a lot had to do with the cold weather because that's all they kept talking. And again, cold in the sense for them. For me, that would have been okay. I can wear my flannel and I'd be comfortable. I'd
I'd
be
be a
like,
little chilled. I'd be a little chilled, but
but a lot of folks would be. And during
I
that match,
still I do find it interesting though. It's pay-per-view.
mhm,
Like, okay, I get it. It's not pay-per-view in a sense of what pay-per-view used to be.
yeah,
It's a streaming service, blah blah blah. But let's be real. You have to pay to watch it. Why the why the delay? Like really? If it
especially
goes if it creates the ambiance and the atmosphere that in essence you're really trying to create in some of those situations, let it rip. Let it fly.
like
But look
Gabagool.
but look how long it took them to hit the delay button last night when Rock was out there.
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up. It took them a while to realize, oh damn, we may want to start hitting a delay now.
and Cornette's brought up a lot of, and again, I know the lowest rung. I always bring this up when I bring up Cornette because then he'll say, "No, it's I'm not. It's not that I'm not a fan. It's just." So no, you're not a fan, and that's fine. That's okay. I like him because he's got his opinions. He's like me. You're steadfast in like your ways and your thought process. A couple things. It's like when you're out there, and it's not AEW, and it's not like some Jack Perry stuff. Because I mean, we'll get to this too. Because there's a lot of topics to cover for the wrestling world for this week. Um, when you got low to mid card folks out there swearing, shit, fuck, cocksucker, asshole, you lose the luster, the majesty per se of like when you hear somebody say like Cody, like you're an asshole, or you're little, are you gonna bring that big rock or big Dwayne energy, or you're gonna have the little dick syndrome? It's like holy shit, things are getting real. But when you say it all the time, it loses its luster. That's sort of how like ECW swallowed themselves. It's like you can't always have the same match all the time. You can't have the hardcore matches all the time and expect people to like mark out and go wild all the time. You have a feud, you build it up, you might have some of that physicality, build it crescendo, and that's where you use your gimmicks, your plunder, the bicycle under the ring, as Dusty Rhodes once said, for WCW pay per view. It's you use it then. It's simple booking. It's booking that it isn't overbooked. And if you got The Rock out there, top what 3 recognizable star.
At least.
I mean, in this, and you, if I'm USA, I'm like, okay, I'll pay whatever fine. TKO, I'm sure would throw in. You're going to be off there in what, September? I think September, November, or somewhere in that gap to over to Netflix or something. At some point this fall, things are changing. It's like you want to have people in there watching, and if you've been paying any attention to the build up, you know there's already been a lot of swearing. Maybe a little more than you want, maybe a little more, that's okay. It's your biggest star, even though he's a part time guy, and he's your biggest star by a country mile. reiterating points to your main babyface. That you just let him flow. Let him flow. A lot of fucks, a lot of cocksuckers, a lot of assholes, whatever.
He he turned heel, played it very well.
Hmm.
He kind of gave himself a new persona,
Yep.
so to speak, in this heel turn. Let it ride.
Hmm.
You know, to a degree, like I'll disagree to one point when it comes to like USA. It's yes, it's cable television. I get that more so because let's face it, even during the Attitude Era, you weren't hearing fucks.
No.
You'd hear a bitch, you know, a cock from time to time, that type of stuff you heard. But pay-per-view, give me a freaking break.
Yep.
Like any sort of, even if it was posted on YouTube. Now, I didn't watch all the blurbs leading up to WrestleMania and all that other kind of stuff where Rock was dropping F-bombs. It seemed like consistently.
Yeah.
I'm sure it probably bleeped out a lot of them because it's basically a quote unquote a replay of what transpired on SmackDown or on Raw. But like pay per view, like give me a break. Who cares? Like I are they worried about kids picking up the nomenclature? Like they hear it all the time.
Yeah.
They hear stuff that's worse in video games nowadays than what they do on television.
By far.
So it's in those situations you kind of quote unquote pick your battles. And for a pay per view as big as what WrestleMania is, it added texture. It added more. I don't want to call it reality, but it was part of the character. It was needed. So like, why?
It added for like even a casual fan, like it was a more emotional investment. You're like, holy Christ, they're saying this. This is stuff they don't normally say, and you can see in the delivery and the cadence of it. It's not just sitting there and oh, you
It
dumb
made it
fucker.
feel real.
Yeah,
It made it feel real.
like you didn't know what was gonna happen. You're like, he could kick the shit out of him, and like again, you still know it's not gonna happen where he's gonna fucking like literally beat him up. But it's like you started to buy in a little more. It's like it brought you back to when you were a kid, and you believed it was real.
Yep.
You're inching towards it. Like I don't know what's going on here. I mean, this seems like this is stuff we haven't seen in how long? So some people have never seen it, so they really bought in.
Playing the character, playing it up like a rehash of the Attitude Era, which we know we're never going to see again.
Mhm.
But in this situation, it just added to the story. It added to the quote unquote reality of what was transpiring all the way up to the buildup. It made it lifelike. It made it seem legit. Like it was, I fucking hate you, like, and it, as we all know, there are legit beefs in pro wrestling. Like there are some people that legit hate one another. But it's no different than any workplace. There are people that each and every one of us work with. Hate's a strong word, but despise immensely. But we have to find ways to interact and work with them regardless of our personal feelings.
Or wish
When
death on, or death upon.
allegedly,
No, I
not
can
good.
wish. No, I can wish. Not I'm gonna go out and perform these dastardly deeds, allegedly.
But it just, I don't know. I I don't want to say I was disappointed with the delay in the beeps. Not like it's really easy to read lips in those situations. But I felt like they got a little overzealous on certain instances where you missed some additional context in some of the stuff that was being said because they got a little over anxious. Like, oh damn, like
And I know Triple H, I think he got blurted out in the post match thing.
See, I didn't watch any of that.
Because he said, like, I think it's like we had a shitload of fun out there, and they blurted that out, and I'm like, I asked Tristan, like, what the fuck did he say? And she said, like, again, what I hate about it the most is I don't like when wrestlers have to speak. And you see these big dudes or these athletic guys or gals, and they're talking like they're like Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
I hate that. I mean, it's not it when that doesn't feel real. It's incredibly tough to buy in. It's incredibly tough to get like emotionally invested when people are you're like you're reading off a fucking script.
It almost feels
I'm gonna
that way.
start it, Steve. I'm pissed off with you, and dag nabbit, by the end of the night, I'm gonna tan your hide. What?
Yeah.
What? You need like an urban dictionary of like 1980 to like figure that out. Like, what the hell are you? What? No, just
You're gonna tan his what? What?
yeah, his hide. What the fuck is that? You're going to tanning bed with I
Yeah.
like I don't even know what the hell's being said here. I rather watch
Is that
something from Japan and like I'll listen to Japanese. I don't know what they're saying either.
is that slang for polish your boots? Like what? Huh?
Or turds. I don't know. So
I do have
yeah.
a question though for you, Dave. And it like all of this is related because we've got WrestleMania talk, Raw after WrestleMania, which quite frankly I have to say was a little boring
Hmm.
personally. Hey Orlando, uh, I've mentioned in the past that you know I've always watched Raw after WrestleMania because I'm curious to see what the next storyline plays out, that type of stuff. I'll look at the results from WrestleMania prior to going into Raw, so I know exactly kind of what transpires. This time I actually got to watch it. Thank you, Michael, by the way. Um, but like, and maybe I don't remember, but was there a lot more appreciation, admiration, kudos this go round than in years prior?
For
Because like Cody Rhodes talking about his respect for Roman Reigns and what he did as champion, and
mhm.
you know I appreciate you type situation. Drew McIntyre and the same thing talking about Seth Rollins and what he did with the championship. Like Cody, I could see that because he's the good old boy.
Mhm.
I could see that. Drew McIntyre, on the other hand, like not so much. But there just seemed as though there was some hashtag appreciate you, bro, and telling like your arch enemies to a degree what a hell of a job you did, and like thank you, and like I thought that was odd.
Yeah,
I get it. I I get it. They're professionals. They go through hell. Their bodies do. So I mean, I understand the appreciation from, the aspect of being entertainers and professional athletes, and the shit that they go through. But I don't ever remember a time in which you have a match with a dude, you
Hmm.
win, and then it's like you talk good about the person that you beat.
And I don't know if that's like a direct correlation of like now TKO's
Triple
involved.
H
Well, and
or Triple H.
I don't mind giving like, yeah, he put up a hell of a fight, or he's
Give
been
him
a hell of
credit
a,
where credit is due.
but you get a sentence. You get like one sentence, or maybe like a lengthier sentence. You don't get like a paragraph. That's the issue. And that's sort of, if you watched, did you see any of the Hall of Fame ceremony?
No, I didn't watch. I watched a little bit of the blurbs that YouTube posted.
I watched the Paul Heyman part because that's, I'm like, I want to see what this is about, because in my mind, I've got what I want to see. So he comes out, and I'm looking ECW, like actual ECW. I'm not looking fucking Boogeyman, Bobby Lashley, Big Show when he was there. That bullshit. I'm looking for
Bub,
Sandman. I don't think
Bubba Ray, the Dudleys.
I see Van Dam on the right as he walks out the first row. His wife, though, I don't know if she's like a porn star, what the hell she's got going on. Tommy Dreamer next to her. Other side, Bubba Ray. I don't think Devon was there,
I
but
didn't see him.
but then they showed him later on as like he went through his speech. I get giving them kudos because that's your team. Yes, Sabu, I don't think will ever grace a WWE program. I'd be shocked. I'd be really shocked. He's one of those characters, people that you're on one side or the other. You're not like, oh, he's not too bad. It's like, no, you either like him or you fucking he pisses people off with what he says. But Heyman constantly was talking about like CM Punk, which again, I don't care because these two guys are two of my favorites of all time. But it's like I just found it interesting, and even like Punk too was sitting there and talking. I know in that interview with Ariel Helwani last week.
Which I hadn't watched that whole thing. That's the one that you posted?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one that,
I hadn't watched all of that yet.
and for me, that's the stuff I can just pop on and just sit and listen. I know a lot of people need to do something. I can. That's something where I want to. I don't even have to watch what he's doing on there. I just want to listen to what he's saying. Give me what you're saying. So I watched that, and he's like pimping up Paul Heyman. He's like, I'm the original, like the Paul Heyman WWE guy. Um, and he's like, he's a good friend. I mean, we're like best friends, and blah 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 blah. And that's what Heyman was saying in the speech, and I'm like, it's interesting because there's a lot of that going on, and when you bring up the giving people their flowers after the matches, I don't like that. And there's a lot of the backstage stuff, which again Punk had said on the thing. He's like, I don't like to show this shit off. I like some of that mystique to still be there. Again, you don't pulling the curtain completely fucking open. I don't like doing that. I don't need the fans to know everything that goes on behind the scenes, because then you start figuring out like, or maybe that's going on, maybe this is going on. No, be in amazement. Be stunned when something happens that you didn't expect. You don't always need to see, because that Peter Rosenberg, or whatever his name is, the dude from, I think, The Fan in New York, um, going up to the gorilla position, like when you saw Sami Zayn go out for his fight. That's gorilla. Usually they got the people sitting there and what's going on, Michael? When you're going up to go out to the ring. Then Kevin Owens did it the next night. Yet when you start using the verbiage of like the insider terms, which a lot of us know, saying heel, babyface, instead of just saying the bad guy or like the villain or the good guy, it takes a little luster off of it. And again, I know that's a sentiment that Cornette has said too. It's like you for the not the insider terminology, but just the stuff that the people know that are in the business, which I guess you could say insider terminology, but it's not anymore. When you start using that in just like casual promos, it I
So
think it just devalues stuff. It just devalues the overall landscape of wrestling.
but does it really?
To me, because if it if you've got to explain something to someone that isn't like I'm not gonna say a true fan, but somebody that's like sort of either a Johnny come lately or somebody that just, hey, I turn it on once in a while, background noise bad. Um, if you've got to explain what a wrestler is saying, then it shouldn't be said. It needs to be something where everybody understands.
But
To
have you taken it into consideration though that they're looking to try and expand the reach to get more people to stick around? And their thought process is to kind of fill them in a little bit. Just posing the question. Because I could argue both sides. I'm more a casual fan now than what I was. You know, growing up in the 80s all the way up through the Attitude Era, I watched it religiously. Religiously. Outside of pay-per-views because like that was a shit show to try and actually like
Mhm.
get the equipment and you know pay the like huge price tag for it. Like I don't I'm not saying I grew up poor, but like
Mhm.
we didn't come from a lot of money, so
No.
therefore we couldn't justify the expense of pay-per-views. But even back then, you still you still got some behind the scenes stuff, even back in those days. Small town wrestling is all about the art form. WWE is for the entertainment value.
Entertainment and production value for WWE or anything on TV. Small town wrestling is always going to be about telling a story, connecting with
And
fans.
and seeing the talent, like seeing like the true art form in its purest form. But everybody has to start somewhere. You want to go into it, you got to start somewhere
Yeah,
in hopes that you make it to the big time. I mean, like I could be speaking out of context here. Dave, I know you've met a lot of them.
correct.
uh it's all right, Jeff, we remember.
Yeah.
We remember. You'll have to log out and then log back in. um, I would venture to say it's very difficult to find a small town guy, homegrown talent in the independent circuits who isn't doing it in hopes to make it big. I mean, I used to watch a shit ton of stuff from the Sportatorium here in the DFW area when the Von Erichs were like the top tier talent, at least the local top tier talent. I mean, there were others, but like I get the whole concept and aspect, but everybody strives. The reason why they do it is they want to become something. I couldn't see a professional wrestler getting into it without putting in the time, effort, in hopes that eventually they're going to make it. Like that's, and, and as we all know, not everybody makes it,
Hmm.
but they're doing it for that. You hear all the stories and the biographies about where a lot of these top tier talents started. You know that they had to work hard. Freaking their payout for the the match or whatever was X, and they had to figure out, okay, where are they going to stay? What are they going to eat? Put gas in their vehicle because there wasn't fucking tour buses and
Hmm.
airplane tickets. They were driving their own beat to shit old vehicles and
Or
like
rental cars.
so like they all but they do it for the love of the sport and what it is for whatever reason. Whether it be family, whether it be, just kid growing up being a wrestler in high school and wanting to take it to the next step, thinking that they could make a career out of it. Like so many things come to mind when you think about all that.
Hmm.
But I can almost guarantee there's not a damn single one of them that didn't continue to do it in hopes to make it big. Maybe not mega superstar big, but make it to one of the big TV promotions because that's where the bigger money was
Hmm.
and still is for that matter. Doesn't mean that even making it to the big time doesn't mean that you're not sharing a rental car with somebody
Hmm.
or being a roommate with somebody, but like at least you were there. You're playing in the big time.
You're on TV. There's a chance somebody will remember your name.
I mean, for God's
Anywhere.
sakes, look at fucking R-Truth. I talked to that guy probably for a good half an hour. I was in the lobby. He was on the second floor, and he was just hanging over the freaking the railing, surveying the lobby, checking to see who was coming in, who was at the bar. At the time, he was Quick Kick. He wasn't R-Truth yet, but casual conversation for a good half an hour, and I think he had fought that night too. So I mean, he was probably tired, beat up, whatever. But at that time, maybe he was just still soaking it all in. It wasn't a super ritzy, nice hotel, man. It was the freaking Wilson World. It's not like it's a 5-star hotel, but all of them were there, supposed to be there. That's the whole reason why my buddy and I ended up getting a room because we went to the show.
Hmm.
His uh, his uncle's wife was the manager of the hotel, knew that they were staying there, looked at all who was booked and had rooms, and was able to get us a room. And of course, one of the main reasons was because like Stone Cold was supposed to be there, Rock was supposed to be there, Triple H was supposed to be there. We didn't see any of them.
Mark Henry.
That was a different one. That was a different one. Uh, but like we were there for an extended period of time. Like we saw Kurt Angle run in and basically like cancel his reservation and leave, but he took the moment and took a picture with my buddy and I. I'm still trying to find some of those pictures. It's pissing me off that I haven't stumbled across them. But that was the whole reason why we were going to stay there, in hopes to like run into Triple H or Stone Cold or The Rock. And we didn't. But you know, we met Kurt Angle. I talked to R-Truth. We got a picture with Jeff Hardy, who, by the way, looked like he was stoned out of his fucking mind.
That doesn't seem right.
Dirty. But again, like he had wrestled the night before, and it was late, and you could tell he looked like he was beat to shit. Now he could have just been totally exhausted and hurting, but he looked like he was stoned out of his mind. We saw the Dudleys. We saw Jeff Jarrett. No, not Jeff Jarrett. Chris Jericho. He sat down at the bar for like 3 hours, kicking back drinks.
I believe it.
But like I said, not a super nice hotel. We have no idea how they got there. They're in cars with each other type situation. We didn't know. And the story I talk about meeting Mark Henry and The Rock, they were in the same car. And this is when Rock was huge. Mm-hmm. He wasn't champion at the time, but him and Mark Henry were sharing a rental car. And Mark Henry was the one driving.
And if you want to remember what Mark Henry, or don't know what Mark Henry looks like, take a moment, pause if you're watching this and in the archive, pause the old video, look on your Google machine, type in Mark Henry, click on images. This is not a small human.
No.
So him driving literally anything except a fucking diesel big rig truck, like an 18-wheeler type thing, which he wasn't.
It was a Lincoln, like a Lincoln Continental or a Lincoln Town Car, or something like that.
So, I mean, to have him fit any comfortability behind the wheel, it has to be an 18-wheeler. So I mean,
and what's funny is we saw Paul White first, and we have no idea what the hell he was driving. So like, I could only imagine. Hopefully, he was in a bigger vehicle.
Oh,
because that is a very large man.
Yeah, Paul White, for those who don't know, Big Show, or the Giant back in WCW times. Yeah, hopefully he didn't get the Geo Metro.
Yeah, fingers touching like right here on my wrist when I shook his hand.
Yeah,
the TV does not do justice for the size comparison of that man's hands. I mean, I knew they were going to be big, but like to sit there and shake his hand and feel his fingers like on my wrist back here, that was like, this isn't normal.
No. But there's a lot of guys too that if you ever have the chance to meet him are not. Kurt Angle's not a big man. He's not tall.
No, he's short. He's like 5'9".
He's 5'10". Like our size. He's not big at all. Because that's always been one of the things as a kid, you're like, God, it doesn't help that WWF would always say like 6'3", 260 pounds, and then you meet like Demolition, and it's like, man, I'm as tall as you guys. I know you're older, but that leads me to believe that in your prime you were my height. And I'm like, huh, you're not 6'3". And then and it sounds like a weird guide, but I look at if they're against the ropes, I look where like the nipple placement is. If you're above it, above the top rope, you're a taller character. If you're below it, you're a normal person's height.
Yep.
So there's like our height, and then there's people that have the Robert Lewis height. So
Right.
that was one thing after getting in the ring. Jeff Hardy was another one. We went to end up or TNA. When would it have been? 2009, 10, 11, somewhere in there. We met Jeff Hardy, like in the ring, held up the belt because I think the goofy TNA title then. Angle was another one. Meeting Angle at 2011 National. Him, Flair, Victoria, somebody else. Oh God, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah,
And
because
I've
Hardy's short. Hardy's normal height.
Yep. So it's just like you look at these guys and you're thinking, man, they're all 6'4", 6'5", 220 to 300. It's like, no, you're all about 5'8" to like 6'2". So then when you sit there and look at like the Hogan Andre thing, it's like Hogan 6'7", Andre 7'3". It's like, well, you fooled me for a lot of years, but I'm on the UWWF. But
Yeah, it's not like you're talking about what's his nuts? The great Khali.
or Giant Gonzalez, where you're like, holy, these guys are
Though
fucking.
they're tall. Like
Yeah,
no bullshit. They're tall.
yeah, you're not. They're causing a solar eclipse. They are.
But I
You
mean,
could.
like even the Big Show. I was expecting to feel like I was towered against. He's a
Hmm.
tall guy. He's a tall guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a
Hmm.
tall dude. But when you think about all the ring announcers and 6'5", 6'7", like you were saying, and you stand up next to them and you shake their hand, and you're only partially looking up at them.
You're not.
Okay, so you're actually like 6'3", 6'4". I mean, Big Show's all of a good 6'6", 6'5", 6'6". He's a tall dude.
Yeah.
But 7 foot. I met a lot of the Mavericks back in the 80s, and there were some pretty tall guys.
Mm.
Granted, at 6, 7, 8 years old, everybody's fucking tall.
Yeah.
But still, like, even putting things into perspective, you're like, you're not 7 foot tall.
Yeah. If him and
Six
Nash are
six,
looking,
6'7".
as I say, like 6'8" tops when you're looking Nash eye to eye.
Maybe with your boots, you're
Yeah.
7 feet. But in regular shoes, nah. No. But of course, I think that's part of the reason why they no longer talk about how tall they are. It's about
Hmm.
weight. It's
Yep.
only weight. So, but that still makes you wonder, though, too. Because, like, when the hell did Dwayne Johnson get to, what did they say, 280, 285, whatever the fuck they were calling him at? I'm like, he's big. Don't get me wrong. But, like, he's put on 20 pounds of muscle
Yeah. He's.
since he got out of the game. Wait a minute. Something doesn't seem right here.
Yeah. There's
So there's variances there too.
him at 250. That seems like a
Well,
feasible.
like I'll give him the 265. I mean, Triple H for the longest time was 265. Cena, like the guys who were built specific and cut the way they are, like I'll give them a clean 265. But like I not saying that what they're conveying is inaccurate by any stretch of the imagination, because we don't know. But he's been out of the game for 2 decades, really, when you think about it from a wrestling perspective, and he's put on 20 pounds of muscle. I know he works out, like you see the videos, like he still has the regiment and everything else,
Hmm.
but an extra 20 pounds? That's fucking unreal. They all have some supplemental help, man. Come on. All of
AJ,
them do.
holy fuck.
Yeah, I don't remember him ever being that big.
Somebody said it somewhere. I don't remember where I saw it, but it's like he's turning into like the mini Macho Man. Like just the body, not the face and all that stuff. But I mean,
No,
just like
I knew
that
what you
upper
meant.
body is like I'm like holy. And then I looked when he came out. I'm like, they're not wrong.
Yeah, like I don't ever. Granted, I'm a casual watcher, but like I don't ever remember him being that cut and looking that large.
No, no, not. And I told Trista, I said, I've watched AJ Styles religiously for 22 years, 23 years. Never, ever once looked like that. Petey Williams, when he was doing like the mini Scott Steiner, when he was in TNA, he bulked up. But at ages, this is the first time I've ever seen him not where you're like, oh, he's like a legit cruiserweight, an X division guy, if he's not going after the world title like TNA. This is like putting in some time in the weight room or doing
Or
something.
yeah, or something.
Heavy probably on the something, but I'm like, wow. Um, so what do you think of night one?
Night one was good. Um, I won't say. Remember, casual watcher, casual fan more so nowadays.
Mm,
So I didn't have any expectations going into it. I mean, I really didn't, because it's the first one that I've watched in a lot of years. It was good. I won't say it was great, but it was good. It was really good. Well paced. Um, I can honestly say if this is like the norm, I felt like I was more focused on what was going on in the ring and not listening to the commentator.
mm,
There didn't seem to be as much commentating as what I remember back in the days. It's always there, but it seemed as though there was a little bit more dead air sometimes in between conversations, which I'm okay with.
mm.
Um, I was surprised, like I wouldn't have expected them to kick off with Rhea versus Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
That surprised me. Um, not that I was disappointed. It turned out to be a good match. You could tell Becky wasn't 100% on her game, um, which would make sense leading up to it, talking about how she had been battling the flu and everything else. Like, if that was legit, then it made sense. You could tell she wasn't fully on her game. Um, I'm trying to think of what all help me out here, because like I remember the start and the finish of night one. But fill in the gaps for me.
The ladder match, the
Other than
tag
the fact that
tag
I
team
hate
title.
I hate the fact, like, I'm happy for our truth winning a title, honestly. And the guy, like, I know it's a character, but like, how anybody would sign up to be like the village idiot is beyond me. Um, but like, the match was good, a lot of high intensity, um, some botch jobs on some of the equipment, which you would think they've been doing this long enough that wouldn't happen. Uh, I didn't know enough really about who the contenders were because, like I said, I don't know a lot of them.
Mhm.
I knew Judgment Day held the whatever the undisputed tag titles. Um, but like to see our truth get a win a title. Uh, I mean, he held the hardcore title a few times back in the day. Not completely legitimate because of the storyline and how that kind of worked.
Yeah.
He found it in the trash. Uh, but you know, he did have a few matches pertaining to the hardcore title, and those matches he won, even though it wasn't a legit title. Like so, I was expecting more, I guess, out of that match. But at the same time, when you have that many people, it could prove to be challenging.
And I think it's one of the main things that we, as you say, yeah, I haven't watched wrestling hardcore in 20 years or whatever, 25 years. You still at your tail end of probably super fandom back then, caught like a tables, ladders, chairs match, Hardy's, Edge and
I
Christian.
remember.
So that's when you start saying, "Oh, it's going to be a ladder match or TLC, whatever match for the titles." Instantly, whether you conscientiously think it or not, it's like that's where I'm sitting down right now, watching this, watching Jeff Hardy get speared off the fucking dangly roper by Edge in Houston. People just fucking losing their shit.
Yeah, there
But
wasn't anything like, holy shit, oh my god.
which and that's the one time I did get like the old back, I started doing the oh, that's not a fun bump. Is when Grayson Waller went through the ladder. That was
Yeah, yeah, that was
anytime I see that, I'm like, there's not give on a ladder. I don't you don't doctor a ladder.
yeah, I the fact that the fucking thing broke.
Right away too. I mean, it wasn't like oh boom and crack. It was like you
Oh
went
no,
right
yeah,
like
it
oh.
was a break. It was a break.
So then the floor with the ladder underneath you broke your fall. So I look at that. I see that. I'm like that's holy crap. I what you
I
got one
just
one set of the title. So good for you guys. 'Cause now you're hurt for a minute.
yeah, I mean I expected more. Like I didn't know what to expect, but I expected a little bit more just for something of that caliber. Because like you said, going back and remembering even just like table matches
Yep.
with the Dudley Boys or the Hardys or Edge and Christian, those main guys that always had a tendency to be around them,
Yep.
like you're going, holy shit. Like they are putting it all out there. Not saying that not saying that any of the tag teams didn't. It just I don't know. I think the SmackDown titles were won too early, which I think kind of took some of the luster out of it. But, the buildup of R-Truth and being tagged in and paying homage to his childhood hero, which is non-existent because that's not possible. Uh, acting as though it's just a normal like I'll give him credit. He plays the part very fucking well. But like I don't know why anybody would want to sign up to be like literally the village idiot. Like there's something wrong with you mentally. Uh but I will say to see him, and I'm not a huge fan of Miz. I'm stardom and reality TV, I feel like kind of went to his head a little bit. More so than what it should have. But to see R-Truth walk out of WrestleMania with the title belt, I was all right with that. Next.
I was hoping DIY would win one of the belts, and then Miz and Truth would win the other. And again, I know you don't want to have two face tag teams, two good guy tag teams winning titles, but at the same time, who cares?
Well, and I mean, let's face it, you kind of knew going in that not one team was going to win both titles.
Yeah,
Like the draft is coming up at the end of the month.
yeah.
Like, will that change throughout the course of the year and they'll unify them again somehow? I'm sure they will. But it only made sense going into the draft that two different teams held the titles.
So you have
That's one
champion.
of that's one of those in which it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Knowing what's coming up and where things are kind of leading. So, like, but on the flip side, as we know, with every draft, sometimes teams get split up
Mm-hmm.
because of the draft, which always makes for interesting storylines for a bit. But then, like, they find a way to make it all kind of fit
Work
back
out.
into place.
And then when you saw, can't even think. I got Priest and Balor. You saw them not winning. That was sort of a precursor, at least in my mind, of future things for Priest. Which night 2 would
Which
come
we'll get
to
to that. Which we'll get to that.
three-way women's match, or six way. I know it was later on, but it's on the Bianca, Naomi.
I remember
Jason.
who was in it against Damage Control.
Yep.
It was boring.
I was gonna say I know Cargill got the pin, which is great for her. Again, she
I'm
figures the
not
shit out.
I'm not sold on her yet. Like she's a mammoth of a person and a hell of an athlete, but she gonna have to figure out how to get some personality. Like I get the I'm a badass, like a storm's coming, I get that, but if she's expected to be the next big thing in the women's division, she gonna have to do better than what she's doing.
Oh,
Like
the thing when she came over, and I don't know if we talked about it or not. It's like they asked, "Where'd you learn to wrestle? How'd you?" Like I just wrestled over there, and that's what I did. And they're like, "You've never had like real formal training?" And she's like, "No." It's like, huh?
I don't. But see, here's the thing: if you think of brutes, just like, and I'm not talking just the women's division. You don't have to have a shit ton of wrestling experience to be successful. Does it help? Absolutely. Because you have to sell it. But with her, she's such a powerhouse. Like, she doesn't have to be technical. That's not what she's there for.
Mm-hmm.
She's there to be almost like a China,
Yeah.
a brute enforcer who overpowers and just beats the living shit out of people. She doesn't have to be technical.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have the freaking, the arm bars and the freaking takedowns and the fucking Russian like you don't have to have any of that shit.
Yeah.
You need backbreakers, suplexes, power slams, body slams, feet to the face.
Power bomb.
Like that's all you need.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
need anything else. But it's gonna get old real fast. So she's gonna have to expand to a degree, or she's not going to. I don't want to say she's not going to last, but they will have to figure out a way to like reshape her like some way. Like she's a badass. I am not taking that away from her. She is built like a brick shithouse. She is strong as fuck. She's got the right personality and the
Yep.
right attitude, but like something's missing. I don't know what it is. Something's missing. But that match was a little boring.
And I don't
Not
think
that I
it helped.
was not that I was expecting a shit ton out of it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like Rhea Becky, I expected a good match. That was a good match.
Yeah. Get the crowd
But
pumped up and ready to go.
like
Let's go.
but the I don't know. I mean, I like Naomi. I've always liked Naomi because like to a degree she's always been kind of the underdog.
Yep.
Really? So I like her. Bianca, the fucking hair thing about drives me nuts. Like, fucking quit freaking trolling the damn thing around. I get it, it's your stick, but like she almost hit fucking
Cargo.
Carwell in the face.
I was waiting
And
for
then,
that. I'm like, ooh. Somebody's got to
and
get
then yeah,
some
and
sort of
then like a,
separation there.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, that
somebody's
was
going to drop back and somebody's going to go forward. I don't care who it is. Somebody's got to do it before you fucking hit her. Because
well, and she didn't flinch. That was
which
the thing. I'm like, okay, like, is this an actual character? Or is this some like psycho crazy bitch like in real life type situation? Because
but that's where I think they were so surprised when they got her from TNA AEW and they started asking her about like her training and all that shit because it's like nothing. And they're like, you've been the most prominent woman on the fucking program over there 2 years. 2 years you basically say you've had no training other
natural
than
talent.
I know, but when you learn the nuances of everything, you saw what Rhea Ripley's
True.
done. It's like you've got that huge. You're just like, oh man, that's a menacing figure. Then you
But
start learning the
NXT,
in-ring storytelling. Holy fuck! Has she's like, yeah, that'll be a serviceable person. That'll be like an Italian Neidhart, like somebody that give you a good match, and then it's like all of a sudden you fucking just throttle on the gas, and it's like, holy Christ, you've got like a
speaking of
mega star.
speaking of Natalia, it almost seemed like she got her boobs done last night. Like her chest seems to be bigger than what it once was. Like by
I know she got them
droves.
done years ago, and I wouldn't be shocked if
Yeah.
they were she doubled down. But
I don't know, man, because like with her little quick cameo with the NXT Women's Champion, whatever the hell her name is, I don't remember, nor do I care.
with that Roxana Perez,
Yeah, but yeah, that's it. But I was like, holy shit! Did her top section like increase? I don't remember them being that large.
no, I don't know if that was
But
during the Vinnie Mac times of everybody seemingly getting a boob job, or like she was at the very tail end of that, or what. But that was one thing where she went away for a while, and all of a sudden she came back, and it's like, huh? I wonder why you went away. Injury, you say? Hmm.
well, look at Alexa.
So,
We all know that's where Alexa was.
trying to remember what else. The Dominic Mysterio match. Him and
You kind of knew where that one was gonna where that one was going to end because like Ray always beats Dirty Dom.
Which I don't know. That to
Here's
me
the
it
thing
really,
though, but Dave, here's the thing. Like there's nothing like if if they would have done it right, they should have had Dom winning early on for it to make sense.
well, yeah.
Whether it be through interference, whether whatever, disqualification, like whatever. But you can't have WrestleMania 40, Rey Mysterio. Like you can't have him lose to Dom now. Like it makes no sense. No sense. When you think about storylines and everything else, WWE screwed the pooch on that one. Dom should have been the ones winning
Hmm.
in the early onset, in the early goings. But they didn't. So it only made sense that Ray and his team would win. But I will say to see Kelsey and Johnson from the Eagles, like you want to talk about wrestlers in the ring looking like small people? They look like they were little people. Like that is something that kind of blew my mind to see the people in the ring.
And now that's your perfect visual aid because it's like they jump over. I'm like, okay, I know one's Kelsey, but I'm trying to go through my head. I'm like, I know that the other tackle, but I'm not. What the hell's his name? It's a kid from Oklahoma, and I just couldn't think of his name. And then they said Lane Johnson. I'm like, God damn it, that's who it is.
But they
And then, yeah,
dwarfed
no,
everybody like by inches.
by a foot. I mean,
Well,
Mysterio came up to their belt buckles.
well, Ray is all
A,
five
a
foot
little guy
three,
anyway. And
all
then
of 5'3".
I think what's her name out there? That Zelina Vega, and she's another one that's she can't go on any amusement park rides either. So it's just like holy, man.
I
But
like I like how Kelsey and Johnson played into the whole thing. Like in Philadelphia, like that was cool. I mean, that was a cool little thing, but
yeah,
was it needed to actually impact or help the outcome? Not really. They could have written it out and all would have been well. Uh, but I think the whole Dom and Ray they've played that enough. It's time to move on. Like I feel like they've overdone it on multiple different pay per views. Like they've overdone it.
I think if they do it again, it's gotta be legit a career versus career match at WrestleMania. It's like if whenever Ray decides he's gonna retire, it's gotta be then.
Yeah, I know the fans wouldn't like it, but that would make sense. That would make sense. Basically, passing the torch type situation to a degree. The only problem is it's not really passing the torch because Ray, is through and through luchador.
Yep,
Dominic is not.
true, but it's I don't know how else you
It
and
makes sense.
maybe
It
that's gonna
makes
be like
perfect sense.
long term storytelling there. It's like okay, I keep getting one over on Dom, and it's like at some point you see the progression of like Dom in the ring at a WrestleMania. You see,
Well,
okay, that first year, it's like,
because
oh,
Well, because you know Dom is not going to leave Judgment Day,
No.
and you know Ray is not going to walk away from LWO.
Mm-mm.
So there can't be any of that. So I think you're right. I think the only way that quote unquote story ends is a career match.
Because I don't believe it'll ever be like, oh no, you guys aren't fighting again. That's just too many. Too much of a storyline. Just like predisposed to be um built in, a built-in storyline. So um but I hope that's a couple years from now. I mean, you have something next year where they go their separate ways at WrestleMania. Do something else. I don't care what it is. Just something different. Then maybe loop back around 2 years. Whenever Ray's ready to retire. Um, but no kids at home. The younger the younger daughter has got to be 18, 20ish, I think. And then Dom's probably early mid 20s.
27.
Okay, so yeah, it's not like you got 8, 4, and a newborn at home that you want to get out of the game and be like, I maybe in 5 years I come back if I'm good. I want to stay at home, do all that to be a dad and not miss some things. But um,
And Eric, I just have a question. Where did you get your information from?
probably the inside of a package of chocolate sticks.
Because that's incorrect. Because Rey Mysterio's name is not actually Mysterio, by the way. You saw it on TV. Well, wherever you saw it, they were conveying incorrect information. Like I know sometimes they do certain things and they do characters where somebody's related to somebody else and stuff like that. And like they're legit not, but like no, that's Ray is in fact Dominic's father.
Yeah, that was 05, maybe, because
Oh yeah,
Eddie
the
died
story
November of '06. So
that's the crazy storyline that
oh
wasn't actually as yeah, whatever. Yeah, I vaguely remember that now.
that was, and Dom trying to shake the ladder. I remember when Guerrero was up there. It's basically like an old person trying to tackle, I don't know, William Perry in his prime. It was just like really, you're selling Dominic Mysterio shaking a ladder. A strong gust of wind would have caused more of a trepidatious moment than that. Um, I'm trying to think what else was night one. We already sort of went over the Rhea Ripley one. I know
So
the Sami
Sa-
Zayn.
Sammy and Gunther was night one.
Yep, and that's about the time when I was like really struggling to stay awake. And I think again, I knew it had to do with not getting a nap in. Um, I hadn't seen a buddy for maybe like 15 years, and his mom had just passed away at the beginning of the year. She had a stroke right before Christmas. We had our good weather then, so there was fog. She couldn't get down to Duluth. They couldn't bring the helicopter up here. It was like 5, 6 hours before they got her
Oh
in,
shit!
and by that time it was pretty much toast. And I think she died right after the New Year. I don't know if it was like the second or third. And then again, I haven't talked to him, like I said, 2008 or 9. Went to school up here, or went to school in Bemidji, and then went to Michigan State to whatever golf course type stuff, the green, the turf management, all that stuff. I think he worked at Trump's golf course in New Jersey or New York. Worked out in Fargo, and now he's up in like Vermont, working as a manager there. So I mean, I don't see him. So he was obviously there. His brother, which I rarely get a chance to talk with. Again, we went over to their house all the time for poker in high school and after high school. Every Friday night, we'd watch high school games, basketball games, go over there, play stick, play poker, and then play Mario Kart or Super Nintendo, GoldenEye, or on N64. So we were there, started at 11, didn't get out of there till after 2. I do have a picture of all 5 of us, with there's one guy missing that played poker with us, and if we would have been able to get that would have been a hell of a picture because we took all his money most of the time. So then I'm like, I can't sleep because it's at 4 it starts, the pre-show, even though you really don't need to watch that. But the one in Dallas a couple of years ago, there's matches started. I think Mysterio was on a match there. It was like 4:30 or quarter after 4. And then you had like 1 or 2 other matches. It's like, I don't want to take that chance because, again, the Andre Battle Royal, I don't even know if that happened, if that was on SmackDown, or I never even saw.
SmackDown, I think, is when they actually had the Andre Giant.
Because there wasn't even like making mention of it.
Because who was it? What's the big old large dude?
Strowman?
No, the guy who won the Andre the Giant.
Osmos, whatever.
No. God Almighty.
See, I didn't even see who won it because I didn't even. They usually say it sometime during the WrestleMania, like, "Hey, here's highlights from the Andre."
You watched Raw last night, though, right?
I don't watch. I watched the clips on YouTube.
Okay,
WWE.
so the main event was Jey Uso, McIntyre, Ricochet, and the big old fat dude.
Oh,
for the number 1 contender,
Bronson Reed.
He's the one who won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So that there you go. But yeah, he ended up winning. And that's the only reason why I knew he won, is because watching Raw, he was standing next to the trophy.
Okay.
And that he was one of the contenders or one of the participants. Precipitation. And the Fatal 4-Way for the number 1 contender for Damian Priest's title, which of course is night 2. So there was 2 other matches on night 1. I did a quick peek because I was drawing a blank, kind of like you. Zayn, like the Zayn Gunther match was a good one. I kind of was hoping Sammy was going to win it, just because, like, how can you not like that guy?
And it makes sense from a, hey, yes, you give him a title that you know he's going to be decent with. Get Gunther out of the mid card and finally elevate him. Whether I've been waiting for that forever, and you do it at a spot where it's still meaningful. It's not like on a SmackDown or a house show. It's like, okay, Sammy, you've been a team player. You've drawn money when people didn't think you were going to draw money. You got the Reigns pay-per-view last year, I think, at Elimination Chamber up in Montreal. You got the main event, great. But here's basically your reward. You're going to have this, and I don't know what the future booking is, but here's your WrestleMania moment. Again, you had one last year with beaten the Usos, but I mean, you've
he's
done things
he's
right, and
he's already defending next week against Chad Gable.
I think where is it? Is it Montreal?
In Sami Zayn's hometown, which only makes sense because WrestleMania, you heard it. Gable was like, "You owe me,"
Yep.
and that it was kind of creative, I guess. Zayn was talking to Gable after their tag team match. Uh, was like, "I gave you the win on a silver platter type situation. Like
Hmm.
we're good, right?" And you could see like Gable's facial expressions kind of change. He's like, "No, in all seriousness, I knew what you meant. You want this, so I'll give you a shot. My hometown next week on Raw. So there you go." Sammy's already defending. Uh, that was a hell of a match, though. A lot of back and forth. Like that was really fun to watch. I I was happy for Sammy.
Hmm.
But like you said, it only made sense. Like Gunther's time is now to get pushed into the heavyweight sort of title opportunities.
Yep.
Uh, then the other match was Jimmy and Jay.
Oh, which that one was slow.
It
It
was
was
slow moving.
like watching the Young Bucks face each other too. There's so many of those super kicks. I mean, that's like literally every third move.
I mean, I like I don't have a favorite with either one of those guys, anyways, because I prefer them as a tag team, anyways. I mean, like it's now time that they need to figure out how to mend fences, and they need to get back to being a tag team. Because
Hmm.
like Jay, I will give credit. Like I'm not talking athleticism or talent, but somehow he's worked himself into the whole main event Jay type thing. He's now the number one contender, right?
Hmm.
Will he beat Damian? Hell no. But is that where maybe there's some sort of storyline where Jimmy helps? They start going against the judge. You get kind of where I'm going with this. Like, I could see a potential storyline kind of come out of that. But I was rooting for Jay.
Yep.
Uh,
He just
but
has.
it's
He's got a little more charisma.
yeah, it's there. There's something about that guy, like where his brother's lacking to a degree.
Yeah, where it's sort of like you could scowl all you want and like mean mug, but you're not really doing anything to like build on that.
Yep.
You're not being like a
So,
cocky like Shawn Michaels when he broke up with Janetti. You're not fucking prancing out there and trying to hide behind somebody and kicking somebody. You're kicking the guy, and you're just like they're mean mugging. I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
what? Tell me why I'm supposed to care. Tell me because it's not much is happening right now. So I think that
I
was the match.
was I was beginning to wonder though when Jimmy kind of started saying I'm sorry and pleading. I'm like, okay, is this actually going to be the WrestleMania moment to where maybe I was like, it doesn't make sense because like something's missing.
When that happened, I'm like, God, are you gonna fucking fall for it again? Again.
Well,
I'm like, how
remember
many
though,
times do you fall for it?
yeah,
And,
but
and I hate like the well, he's hoping to mend the. I'm like, at some point, you got to look out for yourself. Again, I know it's not what most people do, but it's like you've been betrayed how many times? What do you? It's the old Charlie Brown and Lucy.
that's true.
It's like,
It's gonna happen though at some point. It's
oh,
gonna happen at some point.
that's again, if if Jay were the one to do it to Jimmy, and then do that to him, and be like, see what fucking feels. Then
But like
then then you start to like, okay, then maybe the wheels start spinning, and and then you start going in that direction. But you can't have Jimmy every time. Oh, come on, let's be friends again. And then fucking whoop, and then you fucking get waffled and like, come on.
Well, like we all know that they're better off as a tag team, anyways. At the true end of the day, that is
Yeah,
really their specialty. But how they work that, not involving the bloodline, will be interesting.
and I don't
Let that
know.
let that marinate, because like I don't know how they could do it.
No, it has to be like Cody and Jimmy or Cody and Jay against Jimmy and Roman. It's got to be like something like that, and then Jay turns on Cody and like
Or vice versa.
rejoins the bloodline, and then
Or vice versa. Because it
no,
could go either way. It could
it
go either way.
could. I don't see them doing anything with Cody other than babyface time.
Well, and that's true too. But like we could
Especially
all
when
be
you build them
surprised,
up
right?
for 3 years as the finish the story, finish the story, finish the story. It's a 1988, 1987, 89 movie, and I think that might have been a book.
The
It is the
the never
never-ending
ending
fucking
story.
story. So it's like you can't put that much time and then be like, okay, now you're gonna be a heel. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Is Tony Khan booking right now? Because that makes no fucking sense.
Right.
But because I think that match was before the Zayn one, because that was
I
the
think so.
second main event, and then that pretty much killed me. And I'm like, okay, Sammy and Gunther are next. I was on the phone with Trist. I'm like, I'm gonna try to finish this match because these are two guys I love. I want to see it. I hope Zayn wins because of what we just mentioned. That it makes sense in every aspect of the business. And if I make it through the main event, I will be fucking stunned because I pretty much you can't have the stipulation what it was.
Oh, 100%. You knew what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah, yeah. It's and again another fucking barrier. Plus, why would you not want The Rock? Pretty much guaranteed for night two.
100%.
So I fell asleep
It
watching. That
it
the entrance was cool, but it took an
it did.
eternity. And I'm
Well,
like,
all four of them took fucking forever because
okay,
I was sitting there watching the time because like it was showing 6 hours,
hmm
and as I'm sitting there watching the entrances, I'm like, they're only leaving 35 minutes for this match, and it's the main event of night one. Um, um, this is
but
gonna have to run longer.
that's the good part now with the streaming shit. It's not like 10 o'clock. That's it.
Right,
Yeah,
100%.
you can just keep trucking. But I mean, you don't want to sit there and be like, okay, maybe we got 10 after, quarter after. Let's not go to 10:40. We don't
Right.
need to be. You can have people like just Thanosing in the fucking crowd because it's cold and you're just bored because it's like you don't have anything going on. And that's where I got. I was like,
I'm
I'm
sure
trying.
you went back and watched it though. Like you did watch it, I hope.
I
Okay.
watched like the last couple minutes, I think, because I'm like, if I try to watch again, I might fall asleep again. I know the storytelling is great. I know that.
It was a hell of a match. I mean,
But, like, I think I fell
they
asleep when they're both like off, and Rock was off in the crowd to the right. Cody, I think, went up the ramp with Roman towards like the entrance. And I know The Rock was already back in the ring area, and then I think that's when I basically was like, you know what? I haven't slept, and I just basically was out.
well,
Somebody got me in the fucking camel clutch, and I was done. The $1 million dream To be honest, he sunk it in, and I'm like,
3 of
and
the
like,
4 killed themselves. Like,
oh,
and the one I'm saying didn't kill
yeah,
himself, but I mean Roman, Seth, and Cody, like they put themselves through hell in that match. Like it was worth the buildup.
hmm
Uh, it ended like everybody expected.
yep,
I mean, let's face it, like everybody said, you can't throw out stipulations and not have it actually be a thing. I mean that kind of defeats the purpose,
hmm
and it takes away from the story.
hmm
I mean, it really does. But like it was a it was a back and forth, and like I said, 3 of the 4, like holy shit, they they put themselves through hell, and I'm not saying that you kind of expected some of the advantage that Roman and Rock had, but Rock being part of the board, basically telling the referee, "No, fuck you, shut up, or
and
you're
hearing that
fired."
clear as day.
Yep.
You don't fucking count. I'm the fucking boss. And then they try
Yep.
to blurt it. It's like, well, your 7 second delay and your 7 second delay didn't work today.
Yeah, it
So,
did not work.
whoop.
But it added to the drama. It added to the complete and utter disregard for each one of their own bodies.
Mhm.
So like it was a fantastic match. Knew the outcome. I mean, we've said it a few times. We knew the outcome. But like they did it right. Uh
Michael Cole, when Cody was pinned, it's like 1, 2, 3, and Cody Rhodes is screwed.
Screwed. Yep.
And that he's screwed tomorrow night. Cody Rhodes is screwed. I'm like, again, you're just a simple phrase. You've
Yep.
already planted any seed of doubt that it's fuck Cody. He ain't gonna win. It's just no
They
chance.
they did it right. They did it right. But we all know, not telling any secrets. We all know the shit is scripted. We know there's outcomes. Not what It's not always scripted, but it usually is scripted. There are certain situations in which things have to be turned on pretty quick.
I'll say a heavy majority of stuff is
Yeah, because
predetermined and scripted.
they've got storylines months out. So like all the pieces kind of have to fall together. But like night one was good. Slow at times. Um, one boring match to say the least. Um, one not so great match being Jimmy and Jay, but overall,
And the ladder
the
match again,
the the
those
start and the end was like done perfect.
yeah, the opening spots of like the when you have people in the ladders and you push them off, and they're supposed to like basically clothesline themselves or do something on the ropes. Every one of them missed and missed by like a again. I hate to say the phrase again, a country mile. It was
Yeah,
horrible. I mean,
yeah.
it's basically somebody just
There
like
was some botches.
leaning on the ropes. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
And
there
then,
was some botches. There was some botches in both nights.
oh yeah, that too. And I'm surprised it started with Seth and Drew.
I was too. I was too. That I was not expecting.
And I'm surprised they didn't make a bigger deal out of that, and neither did Seth. So yeah, I'm like a fighting champion. I've done all this, and now I'm getting the shaft. I'm in the main event of night one. I'm curtain jerking in night two. I'm not saying I deserve a main event, but put me at the 7:30 hour. Give me a little more time, and nope. CM Punk uh, at commentary.
Great match.
Yeah, I mean Drew. Like I said, I think last week, I love the character. I love where he's going with it. You're not the stupid Highlander bullshit with the fucking dumbass sword and putting it in there. I don't like any of that dumbness. It's stupid. It's stupid. You come out, you've got the bagpipes and like the Scottish band playing and like the if you want to have the Highlander shit and have those like the Braveheart type looking dudes, I'm all for that because that adds to the visual effect. That's
Yep,
cool.
it does. The entrance was great.
But Drew carrying out a fucking sword all the time and then like putting it behind the turnbuckle area, it's like, eh, come on now. Halloween's October 31st. We don't need to be doing
Right.
this all the time.
But yeah, that was, I mean, after what Seth went through in night one and freaking like his body fucking took a toll, man.
Whew.
God.
Yeah, and I think when he got kicked in the eye, he got legit. You could see like right in here, something if it got in under the eye or what, but like immediately he was sitting there talking. Like, what the hell's going on? You could see him talking to the ref, and it didn't. I don't think it affected him the rest of the way. But at the same time, when you notice something like that, it's like, okay, now what's he thinking? He's already banged up. He's hurt. He's he's dinged anyway, and he's coming off not even 24 hours ago a hellacious match.
Yeah.
And again, having Drew win, super excited for that because again, it just for me, it's the same thing that everybody had said. He gets his moment. The fans are there. Whether they boo, cheer, indifferent. 5 minutes and 40 seconds, yes, but still, you get your moment. And it's perfect where, guess what? You go over to Punk. You built it up. You wanted Punk at the
Yeah.
commentators table. You do that, you're getting in his face. It's like, how jealous of you are you of me? My moment. This should have been your moment, but it's mine. You have to deal with it. And Punk, if it's your moment, why are you talking to me? Why are you making it about me? If it's your moment, and sweeping the leg, hammering uh, on Drew with the arm guard or the elbow deal, and then as he's doing that, comes up, he's like trying to put it back on, and then like the barrier has all that LED. It goes purple, and I'm like, and then again, because I'm used to the beginning of the Judgment Day music with like
Right.
the melodic chanting. I'm not used to like the hammer time right into like the song, so it's like I jumped up and I'm like, he's gonna fucking cash in because Trista likes Drew. He's like, I like the look of him. I'm like, I'm sure you do. And I'm saying he got his moment. Now his moment's come to an end. And she's like, what's happening? I'm like, Damian Priest is coming out. Punishment Martinez, a guy that when I was on Facebook, 2015, he was out in Maryland Championship Wrestling, and I'd friend like the wrestlers because I want to know what's going on in all these organizations. I was friends with him and Solo. Solo was down in I think Houston wrestling. I think for like Booker T's deal down there, way back when. So seeing him running out, I'm like, please don't be like I'm trying to remember who it was that won it. I don't know if it was Del Rio.
Yeah, and they botched it. They
Yeah,
cashed in and they lost.
yeah, I'm like, just give him the title. He's see where he goes with. He's got all the tools. Still needs a little refining here and there, but guess what? He's got the size, so you at least got that going for you, and he's got some good in ring ability, and not bad on the mic.
Well, and it
Goes
made
in there,
sense. It made
goes in there,
sense.
boom. It's I don't know if it was a power bomb or the Razor's Edge or whatever. I know his finishing name. The name I can't think of it. 1, 2, 3, and I jumped. I'm like, somebody's fucking getting it. This is the stuff
It
you
made
need to
sense.
do because you just gave him Drew his moment. Again, not doesn't matter the time. You gave him the moment that he should have had in 2020. You just gave Damian Priest his moment. So within a matter of under 10 minutes, you gave two guys a WrestleMania moment.
Yep.
So they could never take that away from them, even though Drew was champion for well, a little bit longer than like a Kenny Rogers song.
Well, and he was running out of time as it is. What better opportunity than WrestleMania? Plus, it it gives you some time to play with some storylines, though, too, to see who the next person is going to be.
And then running down that ramp to cash in. Oh, those are
And you,
long ramps. That's a 50-yard, 70-yard, 80-yard down.
and there was no doubt. I am cashing in right now.
Yep.
No doubt in your mind what was going on.
Yeah, not the stupid like. What do you want to do? What do you want to?
Yeah, no.
The ref was already over there telling the ring announcer that Samantha Irving, hey, he's cashing in. Drew's already in the ring. Priest is in there. Boom, like Angel's wings or whatever the fuck it is, and then done. I'm like,
Not important.
perfect. So that started it off. What was it? Was the I don't think LA Knight was the second match because I thought that was like one more in.
I don't remember, like match after match after match.
LA Knight, that was one that again doesn't do any good for AJ to win. He's I think lost every WrestleMania match he's been in so far. LA Knight needs that to keep going. Um,
Yeah, we won't spend a whole lot of time on that one. That one was
I
almost like a filler.
like both guys. I like Eli Drake, who is LA Knight now, and I obviously love AJ Styles. Again, two former TNA guys, so that's always nice. And then Rudy Charles, the old referee who they've got. I don't know what under what name now, but he was the referee. So I'm like, this is cool. It's a fucking all TNA in the ring right now. So I was very happy to see that. Um, the Bailey match. I'm trying to remember what other match it was on the two nights. Somebody had a leg injury or a leg. They were working the leg, and they
Well,
didn't sell.
that was Bailey.
But there was another one too. She sold it. She sold it throughout. Somebody else, I don't know what match it was. Because it was on night two. Because I know I talked to Trista about it. I'm like, this is what I fucking hate. Like, if you work over a body part, I don't care if it's real or not, you have to give the illusion of it being real. You can't have somebody bash your leg against that pole, drop kick it or whatever, or fucking whatever the case may be, and then you put some sort of arm bar, monkey wrench deal in there, and then you get up like nothing happened. I just, no matter what anyone says, it's like I can't get behind that. I need you to sell.
Yeah,
I've seen
it's
people like they hit their leg like Foley would used to hit his leg and like try to eat and oh he's trying to get the feeling back and at least you're giving the visual We just saw a visual of your leg getting destroyed. Give me a visual that you're trying to fucking get it to go back to normal or the best sense of normal that you can at the moment.
Damn, I'm
Bailey
drawing a
did.
blank.
Bailey kept going with the injured leg, and
You could
glad she
tell
won.
you could tell Samantha Irvine was a little choked up on that one. I don't think she would like it makes you wonder who's actually knowing what's going on. Obviously she didn't because like that one kind of hit her a little bit.
Yep,
Uh
hear that
I mean,
voice.
let's yep, like I wanted Bailey to win that one.
Yep,
Just like and that it only made sense too, like when you think of things. But and that was a hell of a match too. Like the two big women's matches, they were good.
they paid
They
off.
were good. They were good.
Man, the two big women's matches didn't have Bianca Belair or Charlotte Flair.
Mm-mm. Nope. So like there's some deep talent in the women's division,
Oh yeah,
and it was proven in both nights. So let's see what else was there. Logan Paul, KO, and Randy Orton. You knew kind of how that one was going to end.
and
I
I
know.
think that's the one we talked about with Ryan. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
RKO or somebody's gonna get something. You're gonna do something else. Whoever is standing between Owens and Orton tossed out. Paul will do something to finish it off and win. That's like what happened. Which Orton kicking the bottle guy. That was. I'm like, God, I'd fucking kill him. Like, I'm not a fan of yours, Randy Orton. You look like you're rolling towards the finish line very quickly, but just kill one of these idiots because they're just stupid people. I don't care if you've got 8 million subscribers on Twitch or whatever. I don't give a fuck.
who cares? But that's
And I get that. Hey, that's a crossover appeal. And
it is.
if you can draw 5,000 of those people over, you're doing what you intended to do. But I don't need to see every time Logan comes out. One of the dipshit fucking flunkies are with him. That I would have liked to know what that flavor of Prime was. I haven't seen that.
I don't no, don't care.
See, I don't mind the stuff that we've had at the store. Like I'll try it because I saw him. He was pimping it, and I'm like, I know that's made him a few
it's
dollars. And then when they said the money, I told Trista, I said, this is a fucking huge thing, and she's like, oh yeah, okay, like 1.3 billion dollars, and she's like, what?
well, the logo was in the fucking center of the ring, man. That's how he got his opportunity via partnership,
Mm-hmm.
and he just happens to be I'll call him an athlete.
Yeah,
And I will leave it at that. Like to a degree, I'll give him some credit. He's picked it up fairly well, but
quicker than a lot of people.
correct. However, like the persona aspect, he's truly an arrogant, pompous ass. Like it's not an act.
No,
Professional wrestling for me has always been these are acts. These are people acting as a character. Are there some that are somewhat shitty people? I'm sure there are.
yeah,
But like he's a legitimate ass. And I don't know. There's something about him that just he needs to go. I mean, let's face it, the US title means nothing to Randy. It
And
would
that's
mean more to Kevin just because of another title
yeah.
that he's carried. But like to Orton, it doesn't matter.
And
Like
that's
it's
the thing.
either undisputed, or the world head. Like that's his. Like
It's got to
that's
be up
his
here.
realm.
It can't be. Oh, I want the
Yeah,
Intercontinental. No, that's
yeah.
not that those
It's
aren't meaningful titles, but that's all beneath him at this point in his career.
yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, it was a good match. I'm not going to take away from it, but like I just to actually see Logan Paul in a match, like it makes me cringe.
See, I don't mind. Like, I know he's a douche. I know he's a fucking arrogant prick. But that's what makes the character so good that he's already that.
But that's the thing. It's not. But that's what bothers me. It's not an act. It's not a character. That's just who he is, and it just
No, I know it's
drives
and
me
usually I
nuts.
don't want to see that, but if you're doing it well in wrestling and it's believable, like Ronda Rousey coming out like before as a badass. I'm like, when you walk to the ring to like the Joan Jett, the bad reputation, you get the Roddy Piper jacket, and you're like smirking the whole way, and it's not that cocky smirk of like Randy Orton. It's like you're like giggling like you're having a good time. Like I can't buy into you being a badass, even though I know you can kick the ever
Whoop
loving
some ass.
shit out of pretty much anyone in the arena. There might be a good couple few handfuls that you can't, but most everybody else you can pretty much destroy. So when I see that, I'm like, Logan Paul just coming out as a dick. I'm like, I hate you. You're a person I fucking hate, regardless. But you're doing it here, and you're doing it well, and you can elicit that reaction really without even doing much. You can just look out there and sneer, and people fucking boo you. It's like, again, no matter what the extenuating circumstances are, that's what you want in wrestling. You want to get the reaction, and he does that.
Agreed. Agreed. I just
Whereas
don't like
Jimmy
him.
Uso come out and yeah, you do the yeet 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 thing, and Jimmy comes out and it's like crickets. I mean, you can get somebody on a whoopee cushion out there. It's like what the fuck? Oh, what else was on there?
What was left?
Because it seemed like there were less matches. Because when it got
There
to the
were.
main event, I'm like, ooh.
The main event was like an hour.
But I'm like, it was 8:45 or so, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
legit.
like, I don't even care if it's an hour. I'm like, this will end before 10, and we watched the after thing
Le-
till 11. So it's like, fuck, it went so
legit. Yeah, legit hour.
soon.
Yeah, the night two did not have as many matches.
Which is good
Which,
because again, that it needs to be
well,
focused on the big time matches.
what else could you have done? Like seriously, all the titles were put up between both nights.
Mhm.
Like, what else would there have been? Because like personally, I think like L.A. Knight, AJ Styles was like the filler match, just to add some other action to the bill.
We forgot uh, Street Fight.
Oh, with
Bubba
Bubba
Ray and
Ray.
Snoop Dogg on commentary. Snoop
Uh,
Dogg, man, he was something. I know Michael Cole was like you could see in one of the shots they had. I don't know somebody's going up for something on like the top rope, and they had the camera on the other like the entryway side of the ring, and Snoop was talking, and Cole was basically doubled over laughing. He couldn't even fucking talk because whatever Snoop just kept going on. I mean, suplex, man, that's old school. Like, no, Snoop, that's a basic move that's been around a long time, but It's still used. It's not like you break it out of a bag of tricks. They say, I'm going to go to the green room. It's like, oh, the green room.
A
I'm going.
lot of
It's like we
a
got it through.
lot.
We know. We
Shit.
know you're gonna have marijuana. Yes. Shocking. Nobody had that on their fucking like 5 thing parlay at like a sports book. Like, come on, no
or
Snake.
or their bingo card.
Yeah, it's like
Who was in that fucking match? Now that you bring it up, I don't even remember who the hell was in it.
you had Killer Cross, Karrion Cross, and then the Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering and I think Scarlet whatever, because that's Killer Cross's wife, and then was it not Private Party? Is it? Bobby
No.
Lashley was the other one,
Yeah. Okay.
and then DoorDash or B Dash or Baby Bash or I don't know what the chick's name was with them, but
That turned into hell of a match, though. I mean, there was a
yeah,
lot of
that's what I mean. I was like, okay, that's like a filler, just put a couple people over. I
yeah,
didn't know
but
Bubba was going to be the referee, and then like, whatever. This isn't going to be much of anything. Whatever, just do something, get done, go on. By the end, I was like, this wasn't fucking half bad. I mean, for
yeah
just a basically throwaway match.
they did it well. Bubba getting to kind of play into some of it,
Breaking
helped.
out the glasses.
Yep. Almost 2 hours in, and now he shows up. Like, really? I almost want to keep you in the freaking like down there.
Down where? Down.
But that, like, surprisingly, that was fun to watch.
And that was early on too. So I mean, it was the perfect time. You're still having a little fun. Then more of the business part of the show is going to be at the end. It's not fun
Yep.
then. It's
But like, it was enjoyable to play on, get the table, like it
what's
just
up?
it just all played out very well in the end. uh, but again, a filler match that was better than, like, in my opinion, that was better than Styles LA Knight almost.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
their match was good, but it's just like I
you
didn't
didn't
know
have
enough of that storyline to like where it was relevant enough to me, I guess.
it when you have all the stuff that's going on, like going to somebody's house and beating up the other guy, cops coming. It's like, okay, you've done all this stuff. It needs to have a stipulation, like a non-sanctioned match. Okay, you guys want to fucking
Beat the
kick the
shit
piss
out of
out
each
of
other.
each other? Do whatever the fuck you want. You want a contract signing? There you go. We're not held responsible. You want to hit him with a hammer? You want to fucking hit him with a run him over with a backhoe? I don't care. Do whatever the fuck you want to do, but we're not going to be responsible. Finish it and fucking be done. But
Move
it
on.
just
Yeah, move
you just have another match. There's another match where nothing really. Oh, that's what it was. That was the LA Knight one where Styles was working on the leg and he did like a drop
on.
kick
Oh,
on the apron. I'm like, cool. And then like Knight just fucking gets up and starts laying into him. I'm like, you're not even selling the leg, dude. Jesus Christ. You've been around. You're because Trista's like, who's this young guy? I'm like, not young. Been around a while,
may
but I know he's at least 40. I know that. So
may look young, but
yes, and she looked and it's like 46 for Styles and 40 or 41 for Knight. I'm like, yeah, he's not a young pup. This ain't some Johnny come lately. I mean, for most people, yes, but he's been around a while. Um, think that leads us to the main event.
It does. That was, I don't say this much, but that was one hell of a match. Like the two of them beat the shit out of each other for a second night. Like
It was the perfect amount of pacing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Homage to Mr. Perfect.
yeah. So because somebody's like, I think Cole's like
Because
Fisherman Plex, and then Corey Graves like, no, that's the perfect Plex. I'm like, as I'm screaming it, that's not the
yep,
perfect Plex. Nobody gets
yep,
out of
yep.
it.
But Roman with the jab at Cody and doing the Cody cutter or the it, like it was almost like an opera. I know that sounds like a weird freaking comparison, but it had its peaks, its valleys, its peaks, its valleys, its peaks. It's like that was well orchestrated completely throughout.
Yeah,
It was just trying to figure out, okay, at one point in this match, is like the bloodline going to be like start to become a part of it? Because there was a multitude of times in that match it could have happened.
and that's what I
And
was
it
thinking. Like early
and it
on,
did. And it did.
you're sitting there early on, early on, early on. Okay, okay, we're going. We're past like 20 minutes, whatever, 25. Still nothing. About a half hour, nothing. Then Cody starts getting the advantage, and then
Here comes Jimmy.
yep, and their spot, and it's like the one spot they had, Jimmy and Jay, where I think they slid off the table because it looked like they didn't hit both tables flush because one sort of like scooted over. You could see the ground in between the both of them. It's like okay,
But
that looked,
still, but
but
still,
a great spot.
yep.
You get speared off that rampway, and it's a 12, 15, 10 foot drop. It's not just like a oh couple feet,
Yep. And
and
then here comes
that's it.
Solo.
They're done.
Yep. And then
So
here comes
then
Solo.
sort of build it up again, and now Cody's going for another, and then boom, Solo with the spike, and you're like, fuck. Like, okay, seen the undercard guys. When's the Rock coming out? And then the
Yeah. Cena's the one I wasn't expecting,
no,
honestly.
Cena comes out, and I'm like, and I popped for
Oh.
that. I'm like, no shit. Again, not even thinking about him at all.
Nope.
He
Because
comes,
all the speculation was Stone Cold, the rumor mill. So having it be Cena. But on the flip side, Cole talking about, here comes Cena, freaking going after the guy that took him out.
yep.
So when you put two and two together, that made sense.
And then the
I
Rock,
didn't
basically, that was his last WrestleMania.
hurrah. Yep, his last hurrah. And you knew it was gonna be fucking via rock bottom. Like you knew that.
Yep.
But to see Cena and Rock face to face again at a WrestleMania, nostalgia, like well done.
Doing the WrestleMania 18, him and Hogan sort of looking off,
Yep,
then
looking to the
looking the
other
other
was
way.
yep.
I'm just screaming at the TV. I'm like, why are you saying they're fucking doing WrestleMania 18, you dumb fucks? The same thing him and Hogan did. And
But
Trista
it
just looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? If you don't know
but
by
it
now.
but it played well. I mean, when you think about it, it did.
Oh,
I
that
mean,
crowd was fucking eating it up.
you have to go back however many years for them to be face to face in a main event at WrestleMania. I mean, it was a long time.
I was gonna say at least 10. I mean, it was like 13 or 14, maybe 12. So I mean,
And
it's
then,
been a decade.
but then, of course, hearing the Shield music, I'm like, no, 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 no. This can't be fucking Dean Ambrose.
I'm like, yeah, it ain't gonna be him for sure. So I'm like,
And I'm
where the
like, okay, so then it would only make sense. It would have to be Seth. And he got fucking drilled.
he comes in
Like
and he
fucking drilled.
immediately like a
When you
jobber. That's like one of like the under guys. Like he's going in, oh, he's gonna help the baby face, and he just fucking. It's one of the guys that just gets pie and tie or whatever. You're done. You're fucking getting flung 30 feet like Spike Dudley. Fuck you.
Yep. And then, of course, he gets hit with the chair later too, which was retribution. So
Which
like
that's
all
what
of
I'm like.
this made sense.
I just
But
start screaming. I'm like long term storytelling. Long term storytelling. Fucking Reigns doing that to Rollins. Trista again. It's like
yep.
what? I'm like that's when Rollins turned on Reigns. Went with Triple H when he was the corporation or whatever, and fucking they disbanded the Shield. And she's like, I don't know how
Yep.
you remember this. I said, it's wrestling. If I forget anything, it's never gonna be wrestling because it's etched as soon as it happens.
But the biggest pop.
Oh my god.
And the thing that I can almost guarantee there isn't a single fucking person would have ever expected. Because I was I was watching it on my laptop and I was coming out of the bedroom as I'm watching, and all of a sudden, dung, and I'm like, "Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me!" And I'm like, "No, no, no, this is not no, no." And all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh shit, there he is." I'm
And
like,
that camera view is all that shit was just lights come up and fucking take her just like and rock the slow turn and the
yeah.
fucking stunned amazement in his eyes. And like, oh my god, this is
Choke
shoot.
slam, lights go
Shakespeare
out.
couldn't fucking write this
Yeah,
shit
no,
better.
no.
Holy fuck.
Lights
Just
go out, Taker's gone. Rock is already kind of rolled out of the ring.
yeah, they just like it was like the old Taker, like you pulled him under the ring. It's like, where the fuck did you guys go?
Yep. Set it up perfectly to ultimately finish the match. Like, of all the people that like would come to mind to help Cody, that is definitely not one of them.
No, that didn't even register. Wasn't even on the radar.
No. We knew he was there because he was there for Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So we knew he was there, but that was like the unexpected of unexpected. And when I was telling the story, walking into the kitchen because I was coming to grab a cigarette, and my exact words, "You have got to be fucking kidding me!" And my wife was in the kitchen, looked up, "What?" I'm like, I wasn't talking to you.
I'm just talking to the air. Don't worry about it.
But I mean, after all of that was over, I went back and finished watching. Like I rewatched all the part where Jimmy came in. Like I rewound it just to rewatch that part to watch it again because I'm like, that was fucking like that was awesome. Like I don't.
And it was almost like the old Dusty Rhodes finish when he was a booker. All the shit going on, all kinds of moving parts. But this every moving part meant something.
Yes.
It wasn't just like random fuckers to come out there and spoil shit. It was everybody had a role, and it was something you could call back to.
Yep.
If you've been watching for any amount of time, you're like, oh shit, I remember something with this. I remember that. That looks familiar. This is, oh shit. And so you're just going through all of this stuff. And I will fully admit, because I said it with Ryan when he was on. Again, Reigns winning would have been great long term. Again, you figure out what Cody does. No bigger Cody fan than I. I will always say that. I cried when he won. I know it's scripted. I don't care. That's the guy I followed forever. When you're one of my wrestling guys, it's like the NWO. It's for life. I don't
Well,
I don't
well,
go away from any of them. A lot of the ones I love, they're dead, so I can't cheer for Rude, Perfect, Bossman, Brian Pillman. Loved Eddie Guerrero. Month before he died, I bought a shirt at Kmart. I saw that. I was super excited, and then a month later, he's gone. So it's like Benoit. Loved Benoit in the ring. He goes wonky. It's just like, so again, that's like Punk,
well,
Cody. These guys
I
mean the fucking world to me because it's like,
I got emotional,
so I,
and it it was after the win, him holding the belt, Michael Cole's commentary, his mom, Samantha Irvine, like struggling
to even say anything.
to even say anything. Like you could tell she was like big time emotional. And, seeing all the people coming to the ring,
Mm.
Sammy, Orton was out there, Punk came out there. It just,
And again, meaningful in that regard too, where it's like Jey Uso, you've been on the journey with him against the Usos or against the Bloodline. Sami
bloodline.
Zayn, same thing. Orton, call back to Legacy.
Yep. It just,
CM Punk, I was the sharp elbow jabs to the sternum, the gut, the neck. Hey Tony Khan, look at this shit. These are two guys you didn't fucking have any use for.
yeah, it
Good
just,
job, AEW.
the whole, the whole ending of that from when the bloodline started stepping in all the way to the finish, them carrying him on his shoulders, you know, Triple H coming out there and them exchanging words. Like it just the exchange that Cody had with Seth while he's hobbling out, like you couldn't
Cole,
fully
Cole
you
couldn't even
couldn't
say anything to him.
you, you couldn't fully tell what those words exchanged were with him and Seth, or completely what was said between him and Michael Cole. You could read Michael Cole's lips after their initial exchange was "I love you."
Yep.
It just that was that was beyond a WrestleMania moment. I mean, it really was. And for anybody who has any appreciation for wrestling and you did not get a chance to watch WrestleMania, if at a bare minimum you go watch the highlights from that main event and after it was all said and done, I implore you to go watch it and tell me if you can't have a deep level of appreciation for what had transpired because it was only fitting. It was only fitting.
Yeah, check WWE's channel on YouTube. I don't know what they've got up for full matches already.
Well,
Again,
they've
since
got like the top 40, which has some of those highlights. Um, but I do think that there is a 5 or 6, maybe 7 minute segment of the main event, which
okay,
includes
near the end.
some of the back and forth. Uh, but I know there's one in which it has bits and pieces of the guys coming to the ring to congratulate him, give him hugs, putting him on his shoulders, that type of stuff. But like I will say, you missed. I don't know if they put the whole thing on YouTube or not, but Triple H, of course, started Raw, brought out Cody,
Yep.
and uh, Cody, as they were leaving, Cody was like hugging and shaking hands with like the camera crews, and like
Yeah.
uh, a couple of the production guys like put together a reel for Cody, and they showed it on Raw. And I'll be damned, I got a little touched by that too, because like I get it, being a fan from the '80s and watching Dusty, and you know knowing Cody and from the Stardust days, and that like his exit from WWE, like you just can't help but like admire the story, like in all honesty, the story. And the amount of trial and trepidation and shit that all led up to all this, the hell he went through in night one to come back and put on the same amount of grueling, just intense in night two. Like, fuck, you like him or not, it would be hard not to. It would be hard not to. And of course, him walking out with his wife to start. I mean, that was pretty touching. Um, I just the whole end, man. It was emotional, and call me a pussy, whatever. Dave, you said you had tears. Like
Oh, I cried. I fucking cried hard. It was.
it's it's just one of those like and Michael Cole saying how this is why I love professional wrestling.
Mhm.
And it's stuff like that. It and it doesn't happen all the time,
No.
but there are certain moments. Like look at when Daniel Bryan won the title. I watched the highlights. Now I didn't get like emotional, but it was like I felt it. You know what I mean? It's one of those in which you kind of feel the emotion behind the eyes, and like you feel it. But there are certain moments, and last night or Sunday night was definitely one of those moments.
With Danielson, it was one where I didn't get the emotional, like the crying, but I got emotional because, again, another guy I've watched in Ring of Honor just religiously. And I'm like, this guy should be champion in fucking WWF. He's better than 95% of these guys. Why? I know why he's not champion, because he's fucking small. And
And
he
he
looks
doesn't
like
have the look.
yeah, he's a homeless guy that wants to eat fucking hamburger patties made out of fucking tree leaves. Again, to each their own, whatever. But that's the thing. It's like, no, you're not the company guy. You're not 6'2", 238, 245, 260. You're 5'8", 5'10", 195 to 205 pounds. You're an insanely good wrestler, one of the best ever. Nope. So I mean, when you have that groundswell of people saying, "Well, no, I don't want to see Triple H and Batista. I'd rather hang myself by the fucking nuts on a redwood than watch another dumb fucking match with these two." Again, the same thing. Batista, he gets fucking gassed. He blows up when he's doing his machine gun thing when the pyro goes off. when he comes out. He's done after that. I don't want to see that. So to have that groundswell, then
Yeah, he
like
he
you said,
he
with Cody,
definitely he definitely lost some stamina over the years. But anyways, I guess.
yeah, him sweating, and he sweats when he fucking like crawls out of bed.
Right?
But with Cody, like you said, it's like I can remember all this shit. Him coming out. It's like you're Cody Rhodes, '07. Like, okay, finally. I'm excited. Nah, just nothing. No, again, you're not gonna get the microphone time unless like you're the Randy Orton. You're jacked. You got tattoos. The girls like you. You go with Legacy. You go with Orton. And you go with DiBiase's kid. And okay, you got something going here. But again, your personality is not really shining. You're not Dusty. You don't have
Yeah.
the charisma of
Persona, the
Dustin.
charisma, yep.
You don't have that. And then
Trying to figure
the
out who you actually are.
doing the dash in Cody Rhodes when you had the fucking I don't want my face touched. Sort of like the Phantom of the Opera shit when you had the face mask on. Don't touch my face. That's when I remembered him the most vivid when I really got into the Cody Rhodes character because I'm like I can't watch SmackDown. Didn't have whatever the fuck it was on UPN or CW or whatever fucking fifth rate cable station. So when I had the meningitis, I was able to watch it at the hospital. I mean, I was super stoked. I'm like, I get to finally fucking watch Cody Rhodes instead of reading about him on the PW Torch website. And then it's like, God, come on, do something. And then the sort of sputtering. Then you go off to do like the Stardust thing after a while. It's like, well, that I like that, but I know that you can just tell it's something he doesn't
Yeah.
give two fucks about.
Yeah. It wasn't him.
And him being with Dustin and Dusty, and I don't know if it was against the Shield that time or somebody else, but they had the tag team or the 6-man tag match. I think like a pay per view or a Raw, one of the two, and at least they were able to get in the ring with that. I was like, that's cool. And then not too long after he dies, and it's just like Cody was like, and at that time he was done. Basically, he's on the way
Yeah.
out. And then I remember the August of like I think 2016. I don't know if it's Facebook or Twitter. He put out that list. He just put a list of like who he wanted to, and it wasn't even like saying I want to face. It was a list of 15 wrestlers, 20 wrestlers. I'm like, that was it. That nothing else. I'm like, okay, he's getting on his feet and he's ready to run. And so when that Heavy on Wrestling had the one down in South St. Paul, unfortunately it was against Colt Cabana, which pretty pretty low in the totem pole. Not the lowest rung, an even lower rung in the wrestling sense. Able to meet him, see him, talk to him, just a genuine guy, and then follow everything since then. I mean, it's New Japan, going to Ring of Honor, watching Being the Elite, having them build up to like we're gonna create the company or have the All In, and then after that they had the company stuff, sort of the ducks in a row, and have that going. They get Jericho. That's like you're so excited for this because he's like you've built yourself to a spot where that's where he wants to be. He wants to be relevant in wrestling because he's got such a heavy burden of his old man's last name. It's like you don't want to fail, no matter who it is, who raised you, whatever the case may be. You don't want to fail those people because you don't only feel like you're failing, you feel like you're failing them, even if they say you're not. It doesn't matter. So that to feel that too, it's like because his dad died, mine died a lot earlier. And that was something I had mentioned when I met him. I said, yeah, I know the pain. It sucks. and it doesn't go away. It doesn't. I mean, no matter what. And he had seen me in the whatever in the. I've told that story too, where he saw me in the lobby of the hotel. I was right behind him checking in, and thought I was part of the ring crew, and said, I wish I would have known you were coming here to see me." And again, believe me, that crossed my mind. I'm sure in years to come, I will sit there and lament that. But you've got enough on your plate. I'll see you. We'll talk, and I could chew your ear off for days because I respect you that much. And but I just that's why I didn't sit there and ramble on like a fucking lunatic like I am now. So seeing him at like the AEW and Trista and I went down there for the pay per view, and then the night before they had the whatever the fuck it was, Collision or whatever bullshit was on. He was under the mask there as like I don't know what the fuck it was, some fire guy with like another dude. So you knew it was him, but then he was on his way out January, Royal Rumble, or no, then WrestleMania down there in Texas, surprise opponent for Rollins, and then the rest is history. So just seeing that, knowing what he's gone through, knowing the burden he has, maybe not only I don't care from like a fan standpoint, but the personal burden. That's the thing that I resonate with, I think, the most, and that he actually fucking cares. I think when he
Well,
said on like the post game thing, he's like, but why does it mean so much to you or whatever? He's like, it's real. I said, no, it's because he fucking cares. He's not going to say that because then that diminishes other wrestlers, but for him, it fucking matters.
well, and he doesn't just focus on interaction with kids either. Like he
No,
appreciates his adult fans as much as what he does the kids.
which is huge because that's a lot of the people that are buying the shit. And the people that
Yeah.
have me, who've been on that journey with you for 15, 20 years. So,
Same thing with sports athletes, though. You know, it's I understand. Like, yes, the kids are important, but the kids aren't the one buying the tickets,
mhm,
buying the merchandise. It's the parents, and the reason why the kids like it are because the parents have introduced them to it.
mhm.
So it's you have to show some appreciation to the
For everyone.
adults as much as what you do the kids. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and I may get shit for it. But the reason why a lot of pro athletes or professional wrestlers don't is because there are too many people out there who get autographs to then turn around and go sell it for money. But that takes away from those individuals like us who were fans who just want it because
And that's why I've always
not everybody is out to make a buck.
and that's why I've always got the when I get my 8x10 signed or whatever it is, it's to Naomi. So guess what? I'm automatically devaluing the autograph. So at least
Yep.
they know it's not I'm not gonna sit there and turn around on eBay or wherever and try to peddle it. I'm like, no, this stuff means more to me than you guys will ever know.
Because
So,
I think my Triple H auto is personalized to me.
okay.
I know I mentioned I found my Mick Foley one. I didn't bother to actually like really look at it to see if it was also personalized because I had a friend like I had friends get me both of those. But like I know the Triple H one is personalized. I
Mhm.
don't remember, like I said, if Mick Foley's was, but like not every person who asks for an autograph does it for the potential of money.
Mhm.
But because there are a large number of them out there, it it doesn't help us fans,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But like I said, we're the ones We're the ones who are paying the money to get these kids there, to get them into autograph signings. Like, it's not the kids. Hey, don't forget that we're the reason why they're here. We
Mhm.
introduced them to this.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna turn on the wrestling and be like, "Oh, what's this? This is fun." Like, no, you're gonna sit down with mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister, whoever, neighbor. Hey, I
Yep.
watch wrestling. What the hell's wrestling? Isn't that stupid? Well, sit and watch with me. See if you like
Yep.
it, you like
See,
it. If you don't,
yeah, see what
whatever.
you think. But there's reasons why kids get involved with things, and it's usually family.
Uh-huh.
They're not going to randomly turn on a baseball game or a
No.
football game or a hockey game. Like there's always some substance behind it.
Mhm.
But let's face it, unfortunately, the older we get, the harder it is for us to get things from individuals out in public or at a sporting event unless we pay for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, for the first time in a long time, Carlos. But a lot to talk about, a lot to digest.
And then I
And Vinny
haven't watched.
didn't and Vinny didn't get to say a word because he had no input.
No, and then there's the. I still haven't watched it. If you haven't bought stock in Kleenex, please do so before I watch it. The Bray Wyatt documentary. I know that's just going to be a
I haven't
night
seen it yet either.
because again, I wholeheartedly always will say this too. I am a Bo Dallas super fan. I loved him in the ring. I hope at some point he comes back. That was the shirt again. Meeting Cody Rhodes. That's what I fucking had. That believe. So seeing even that promo for it when it was run on night two, I'm just like, oh, I can't even watch. I just seeing IRS, Mike Rotundo's, obviously, if you didn't know, Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt's dad, seeing him break down when they showed the Hall of Fame thing when they both had the shirts. I'm just
Yep.
like, I can't deal with this. So I know when I watch that, that's just going to be. I think it's going to be raining harder than it was in Texas the other day. When I was watching it. It's like, fuck,
Yeah, that's on my list to watch as well. And thank you to Ryan for not spoiling it
yes,
because he had watched it already. So now that I have been giving authorization to use a login whenever I choose. It's it is definitely now on my list of things to watch.
yeah,
Hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, Carlos. It's why it's an opinion. A lot of people can agree or disagree. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's your fucking opinion and who gives a shit what anybody thinks. Because you don't even have to justify your opinion if you choose not to do so, because that's the luxury of having an opinion. I'll leave it at that.
yeah.
2.5 hours of wrestling talk that I actually had feedback in that I could actually comment on because I actually watched. And it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was.
Even watching it on like my laptop, I still like I didn't have to pause it. If I wanted to go have a smoke, I just pick up my laptop and carry it with me.
Mhm.
So I didn't miss a second. Now there are times in which I kind of turned away for certain matches that was like, I really don't care about this one as much.
Bathroom break,
but
we don't need to bring the laptop.
but I had it with me just in case, like
Yeah,
because sometimes you don't want to miss a big moment type situation, regardless if you're that invested in the match or not. You don't want to miss like a big moment potentially
no.
because you never know when they're going to happen. But it was well done. Uh, it'll be interesting to see how things play out leading up to like the draft. Who's gonna work themselves into like Money in the Bank? Like, I'm not saying I'm more invested because I watched WrestleMania, but I am more intrigued to see how kind of things play out
Hmm.
because Roman's going to be out for a while. Rock is gone for months because of
Yep.
his new movie. Seth Rollins is going to be out for a bit, whether it be a well needed vacation or he needs to rest that body because he looked like he had been run over by a fucking Mack truck and then a fucking train. Um, but like, if it was an act, he played it fantastic. If it wasn't, like, he deserves some time off.
Yeah.
So Cena's back for how long? Be interesting to see how that plays out. Since he wrestled on Monday Night Raw with the Awesome Truth against Judgment Day, non-title match. Um, so him actually being involved in a legit match, even though he didn't do a ton
Hmm.
in said match, but maybe he's working himself up slowly. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how that kind of play. Like, they're gonna need with Rollins and Reigns and Rock, even though Rock is not a mainstay, being gone for at least a bit. Somebody had to come back and kind of fill somewhat of a gap.
Hmm.
So, I mean, Cena is a logical choice, other than the fact that he's balding, if anybody
No.
noticed. um, bad.
If Cy Sperling is somewhere, you can hair club for men.
But, there's a lot of things that can kind of be played out leading up to, the draft, Money in the Bank, and then, of course, leading up into the other uh, pay per views. But it was fun to watch. And the first one I've seen in a long time. So doesn't mean
That,
I'll watch all the future pay per views or anything along those lines, but it was it was fun to watch it. It was fun to
it,
watch it.
they left themselves with a lot of doors to go through,
Yes,
a lot of avenues to go down. It's not
a
where
lot
you're
of
like,
storylines.
okay, now what? It's like, no, you got multiple paths to traverse if you choose or when you choose. So,
Well, and I mean that's good to know too, Carlos. But like, there's so many things that can be done now. Like, because we all know the bloodline is not over. We
no.
know the feud between Cody and The Rock is not over. Like there's a lot of things in which we know we're not done,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be interesting to see how some of the things play out in time. So we'll see. I have nothing more to add. Coming up on 2 hours, 45 minutes. I know Vinny would probably like to chit chat about something else other than what we've talked about because he doesn't give a shit about any of this, which it's okay that he joined so late.
I do, but I didn't get to watch because I was involved with so much effing soccer this weekend. It was unbelievable.
Yes, multiple texts.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
we
you
know.
had a game Friday, Saturday morning. I got dropped off at the pro field to load all the van. Meredith and C went to her game for another game. Then we had the pro game. Woke up, went to another C's game, and then went to old coach Remy was playing Drita, which is an Albanian team, for his coaching debut. So here's a guy that I've known for 4 or 5 years. Had to go support him. Then we emptied the van from the night before, and before I know it, it was 8 o'clock on Sunday night, and I was just like exhausted. And then work has been fun. I haven't slept much. I feel like shit. I look like shit. Sometimes maybe good. Well, this is sometimes maybe shit. I'm freaking feeling it.
Three cuss words back to back in a live episode.
Yep. That's how great I feel right now.
I'm calling Dad.
Yeah. And the gout is freaking killing me. And yeah. It's been a thin slice of heaven in my world.
So Vinny came on to bitch.
No, just to tell you what's been going on. So in the process, I bitched a little bit.
But 4. Wow,
And,
this is a record.
And remember, I'm off next week because I'm going to be gone from Monday night till next Thursday. And I'm not only going to miss the podcast, I like to try to get to the podcast, but I will be gone for work. And at the same night as the podcast, if it's Tuesday night, Stars play it's Wednesday. I might be able to make it because Tuesday night we play DCFC, our old rivals from back in the day, in the Open Cup. If we beat them, we play Indy 11 or another MLS next team. And if we can beat these guys and get further in this cup, it's a good chance that we can do something better in the future. It's ussoccer.com next Tuesday night. Michigan Stars, DCFC. It should be a thriller in Hamtramck.
Yeah. No, David already talked about show next week. We hadn't informed everybody yet. Next week, Wednesday. Gotcha. And you may want to actually tune into that one. Not guest related, but we will finally be touching on the winner of the past survey. So you want to see some cards, actually see them in somebody's hands and not via picture. Wednesday. And shortly thereafter, once the show airs, we will be putting up the second survey. So be looking forward to that. We'll discuss that more probably on the show next week. So that's all the cleanup shit I have, Dave. Coming up on 2:45. Closing thoughts. Wrap us up.
One of
That
the folks that it was, I've never seen him before, and I don't know if it's Bill Dundee's burner account, but it is. It is. Wrestling is booming. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, like you said, you lose a lot of at some point here, the main event characters go away. The big names. Not saying any of these other guys can't carry the load, because they can. I just want to see how people buy into it when you don't have Cody versus The Rock. You don't have The Rock coming out there. You're probably not going to get the same type of reaction. CM Punk. Hopefully that's less and less of a weekly thing. It's like maybe once a month. Hey, I'm still here. I'm coming back. I'm getting ready. Doctor says we're doing good. Something like that, not where every week you're coming out and sort of devaluing the excitement that he brings to the table just for a cheap pop or a ratings bump.
well, you know, it's already going to be a McIntyre versus CM Punk at some point.
Oh, I fully know that, but I don't want you come out every week, come out every week, come out every week. Have a pre-tape statement or something like that on the jumbotron or whatever, if they've got that going on or whatever the case may be. Just have something where you don't need to see him all the time, but you
Well,
see him a lot, so it's not out of sight, out of mind. It's you see him, but when you see him again, it's an impactful statement or it's an impactful appearance. So we'll see where it goes. WrestleMania 40, again, one of the better ones. I wish they'd announce WrestleMania 41. It's the only thing they didn't do. Again, yes, the hot rumor is Minneapolis. That's great. I want to know. I don't need to sit there and fucking wait. Let's drop the hammer. Whatever you got to do to get this fucker up running. Let's go. So with that, next week Wednesday, 7:35 ish p.m. Central Standard Time, and then the following Wednesday, it'll be 7:35 ish. My coming on here will not be as late as Vincenzo, but it will be probably later because tomorrow is supposed to be the basketball banquet. I can't move to the 24th. And I'm like, oh, so when I sent the email out, I'm like, oh, that sucks. I don't think I got anything going on. And then I'm like, a couple days later, I'm like, I think that's going to cause a bit of problems. But we'll work around it. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done, and we'll be on Wednesday. Might start without me, which Diamond Dallas Page would say isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Vinny and I have been able to wing it a few times, but you know, let's not make that a constant thing.
No. It'll just be a chunk of time, not the whole episode. Because I'm going to ask somebody to come on because the next day is a certain event that we all look forward to every time of year. So it isn't World War II or Vietnam.
It's the draft.
Yeah.
You didn't read my lips. I said it when I was muted. I'm sitting there going, oh yep.
Maybe I can go live from Detroit.
Yeah.
Draft's here.
I was gonna say, yeah, they got that at Ford Field.
Yep. They're constructing the stage as we speak. Outside. I saw it on the news 2 nights ago. So just be a lot of revenue and a lot of business brought in for about a week. And I wouldn't go near the city with that traffic if you paid me.
I'll give you $1.
Okay.
I will also give you $1.
Then I have $2.
So
Better than
that's,
nothing.
that's correct.
This is true. Hashtag facts.
So with all that fun excitement, thank you all for watching. So we did have about 12, 13 in here at one point, which I stunned. It's almost like this episode was about polishing turds. So thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. It always helps us, as you know. So, with Vincenzo, Steve, I'm Dave. This has been the Instant Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards is a wonderful hobby. Friendships you forge along the way. That's what really matters, everyone. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.